Hey, Pat McCardle here, back with another episode of Shop Talk. Today we're going to be diving into this RZR XP in a little more detail, talking all about the rugged design of this new machine. We're going to start off covering some of the chassis, roll cage things, and then we're going to jump over to a bunch of the parts we got sitting on the bench so we can kind of show you back and forth some of the differences between the RZR XP 1000 and this all new RZR XP. So we mentioned a little bit about the chassis, and if you think back to the RZR XP 1000, kind of somewhere in here, there was actually a bolted joint that split the front and the back half of the frame. On this new RZR XP, it's all one piece welded from the front to the back. So it gives it a more rigid setup, and that's going to help you with ride and handling because it's going to allow the suspension to do its job. As we look up to the roll cage here, you'll see that we actually hid the joints below the body lines. So it makes it way easier to be able to color a cage if you want to customize your unit that way. We've added more structure into the cage. You can see there's more gussets, more tubes, and got these nice integrated pillars going all the way down to the frame in the rear. So it's a really sweet setup on the cage. As we look down, we've got some integrated toe points. So if you actually look down in the back, you'll see there's a little hook right here. So in your trailer and your unit, you got an easy spot to get that ratchet strap on the back end. And if you come back up to the front here, built into the bumper, you can actually see we've got these loops here, so you can actually hook for your trailer point right on here. So it makes it super easy in that regard. Other things, we've got the built-in bumper. There's actually a tow strap here in the front, so if you gotta, get pulled out or get somebody, give somebody else some help, you've got that as well. And there's also one in the back. So if you look down, built into the frame, much like the XP 1000, we've extended this out just a little, so you got plenty of room that if you need to tow somebody home, you got room to do it right there. All right, so let's talk about protection on this vehicle a little bit. So coming back up to the front, right, we got this awesome integrated bumper, and this comes on all trims of the RZR XP. Both the Sport, the Premium, and the Ultimate get this built-in protection in the front. And when you look down in this front wheel well, one of the cool things you see is that we've extended the skid plate now all the way out to the side of the vehicle, so it goes all the way under the floor, so underneath where your feet are, and actually wraps up a little bit, a couple inches here on the side, as well as the full coverage all the way out to the outside. So not just driveline protection, but kind of full coverage skid plate now on the RZR XP. All right, speaking of driveline, on this cart I got some parts to compare. RZR XP 1000 versus the new RZR XP. So let's start out on the front end of the unit. So you can see right here, I've got a RZR XP 1000 front drive, and what you'll notice is it's got 4 mounting screws that are like rigid to the chassis. So this sucker's bolted down hard, and when you've got a 4-seater, sometimes you'll get a drumming out of the front end when you're running an all-wheel drive. On the new RZR XP, the thing that's awesome is we've got these isolated mounts now. So this thing actually hangs off the chassis instead of being bolted solid. So now the engine, trans, and front drive are all isolated from the frame, so it quiets down a lot of that noise that you might have heard on previous gen models. So really nice upgrade on the front end here. Let me get these out of the way. I've also got a new set of clutches off the RZR XP here, and what you see is that these are way bigger. So we've actually taken the older RZR XP Turbo size and actually done some upgrades to the clutch here as well. So on the primary, there's some new work that's been done to the sliders, so these are actually beefed up and improved. We've still got the stainless sliders. The weights and pins are pretty much what you're used to seeing, but overall, this clutch does a lot better job of handling more power and giving you more life on this naturally aspirated power plant. We've also got a new driven clutch here as well, so upgraded. We've got big cooling fins along with this backing plate, huge fins in the back of the primary, so this thing is actually flowing about double the amount of air that the RZR XP 1000 did, so it helps keep that belt way cooler. So I'm going to flop these over, and we're going to talk shafts next. So if you look here, I've actually got half shafts off both units. And what you'll see here is that the outboard end where it attaches out to the wheel is actually a bigger spline because there's 2 more teeth on the new RZR XP versus the XP 1000. The other thing that might be a little hard to pick up here is that we've actually grown the shaft bar diameter a little bit as well. So the shafts are actually stronger on the new RZR XP than they were on the XP 1000. And on the DOJ side, we've actually beefed up the joint. So you can actually see just how much bigger this new RZR XP is versus the XP 1000. So a lot of different upgrades here, even bigger splines as well, kind of going into the drive, but that might just be because we got a front versus a rear. Next thing we want to show you as well is the interface to the front drive. So if you look, this is actually an XP 1000, and this would slide onto this shaft in the front end, if I can hold it right, kind of like this. But what you see here is that there's actually a pin that goes through there to hold those two pieces together, which makes it kind of painful whenever you got to take one apart, because you need this like 3-foot long tool to drive that roll pin out. Cool thing is, on the new model here, we actually have a pinch joint now that's bolted together. So the cool thing is this sucker slides on, you know, real easy. And then you basically have 2 bolts, and this one's, you know, you'd have to take the bolts out to actually put it on. But instead of having to worry about that pinch joint, you know, you slide it on and then you run the 2 bolts in, pinch that joint together. Makes it way easier from a serviceability perspective if you ever got to pull a prop shaft off. So really nice upgrades in that regard, you know, to the front shaft. And there's also been some upgrades. I don't have a new versus old, but this hanger on the carrier bearing has actually been improved as well. So the rubber isolator here actually holds up a little bit better on the new RZR XP. So a bit better durability from the driveline there. Now I'm going to bring you back to the back of the unit because I don't have all the parts we need to actually compare. But we pulled the box out so you can kind of see everything in the back. So underneath the clutch cover, right, we talked about those clutches, that's been upgraded. But underneath this air intake is where the transmission sits on this rig. And we've actually upgraded the internals of the transmission. So we've now got a gear-driven reverse versus a chain-driven. So when you're backing out of a mud hole or, you know, putting a lot of work, you don't have to worry as much because it's upgraded on strength, so the durability is better, and we've actually upgraded some of the bearings in the transmission as well. So when you think about, you know, new power plant and delivering that out to the wheels, upgraded transmission, upgraded clutches, upgraded half shafts to the rear wheels, upgraded prop, upgraded front drive, upgraded half shafts. You kind of get the idea here that there's a lot of stuff going on under the skin here to be able to deliver that power out to the wheels. So overall, like, this thing is quite fantastic. Other upgrade that I missed in the transmission, we've actually upgraded the snorkel tube. So when you look at kind of this little part right here where the outlet comes to go up to the front drive, again, we've got the 2 bolts to pin that to the shaft, but there's been some upgrades in the gear set and bearings back in that area as well. To be able to help out with getting strength up to the front drive and allowing us to upgrade those other parts without having to worry about damaging the transmission. So another cool thing that you guys can't really see, but under this hubcap, if you go in, we took a lot of learnings that we've had over the years, not just from RZR XP 1000, but also more powerful models like the Pro XP, where we've actually Loctited the half shaft in to get better wheel bearing durability out on the end. Makes the service a little trickier, but actually gives you much better longevity and durability so you don't have to touch it as often. So overall, right, we've taken a decade of learnings from the RZR XP 1000 along with new models that have come since that time, RZR XP Turbo, Pro XP, and we've put that all into the RZR XP. You've seen, you know, chassis, roll cage, driveline, you know, all these things are ruggedized for better durability and longevity. So be sure you guys watch some more of the videos that are coming here, and like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.